Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I don't really have a project that I have neatly finished or something that I was focusing on this week, so I thought it would be a fun idea to just show you how a normal week in my life looks, trying to be creative but with a full-time job. I filmed per day and you'll see that I didn't film a lot on some days just because that's the realistic version of being creative for me. Sometimes I'll do more, sometimes I'll do less, but yeah, you see me mostly just knitting the first few days. Oh my god, what are the days? It's Wednesday. I'm working from home and my lunch break is going to be me carding some wool and spinning it up because honestly I need a calming break and I've been wanting to work on this fleece for quite a while. I've finished spinning an entire bobbin. I want to spin another so then I can ply it together and finally have a look at how the yarn is going to look. But yeah, I'm gonna get going with this. I have my setup here. I have an old tablecloth on the floor. I have my hand carders and I have my already picked wool in a box here. I'm just gonna see where I get. I'm gonna make rolags, pop them in a bag, ready to spin. So I'm just gonna do enough that I can get started with the spinning, and I'm probably just gonna work on this for less than an hour, which is fine, just as a nice break. So let's get started. So I've had this fleece for a while. I've talked about it in my video, the Wool Diaries. It is an Ouessant fleece and I'm really happy that I got it. I got it from friends of my cousins. The only issue with it is that they didn't cut it. They didn't shear the sheep knowing it would be spun up, so I'm actually just trying to make the best of a cut that has a lot of short bits. I did try to filter out most of them, but I do want to preserve as much as I can, as much fibre as I can, just to be able to give them as much yarn when I eventually spin it. Spinning is honestly the hobby that I turn to the most when I am stressed and need to relax a bit, just because I feel like it is more head clearing, I guess, than knitting is, because while I knit I can really still focus on something else, but while I'm spinning I really do need to focus on what I'm doing, and there's something about the movement of the wheel and the sound of the wheel that just really calms me down really well. And honestly, a perfect lunch break, so I was really happy that I did this, and perfect to get back to work as well after this. I wanted to check in and give an update on my week. It is Friday, I just got back from work And honestly, the only crafting that I have been doing is knitting my sweater, because honestly I've just been too tired after work. I've been sleeping really badly, and that's just the reality of it. Then the priority is to get my work done, and then when I come home I usually don't have that much energy, and knitting is something really accessible to do then, so that is what I have been doing. I have gotten quite far with my Winnie sweater, but yeah, I'm still working on, I think, the sleeve increases now. There are so many different kinds of increases in this pattern that at one point I was thinking like, wait, haven't I done this already? But yeah, I'm still enjoying it. It's just, I think because I was tired, I was a bit confused. But I figured I would give you an update on other things that I did this week, or that I want to do the next 2 days still in the weekend. So I have been reading a lot, and I was considering, since my previous video was all about the 4 C's and speaking on how to live a balanced life in a creative way, so create, consume, cavort, commune, I thought I would give you an update on those 4 things in my life as well, and not just the creative side of things. So for consumption, that sounds so weird, to consume, I have read some really good books, so I thought I'd show you. I went to a local bookstore this week. Yeah, actually, what am I saying? I didn't do much after work. I finished this whole book in, I think, 2 days, to be honest. It's not that long. It's like 250 pages. It's called The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden. I have been wanting to read this for such a long time, and I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, it won the Booker Prize of 2000. No, what am I saying? It was shortlisted for the Booker Prize in 2024, and it won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2025. And yeah, it's been on my list for such a long time. I just couldn't decide whether I wanted to read the English or the Dutch version, because I am from Belgium. I do also speak Dutch, and I could not decide what I wanted to do. But I did in the end decide on the English one, just because I was listening to the Inklings podcast, and he was interviewing the author, and there was a point where she said that she wrote it in English first and then translated it to Dutch. So I figured that's probably the best option, to just do it the way that she wrote it, I guess, read it in the original, and then if I'm still thinking about it, I can still read it in Dutch too if I want to, but I'm not sure. That being said, I really did enjoy this. I think it was written beautifully. I think 2 reasons why I wouldn't like give it 5 stars, even though I do think it's really, really good, is just because I guessed what was gonna happen. I think like 20% into the book, I guessed the ending, which I do often have. Like, there aren't a lot of books that I can't predict the ending of, and I don't usually mind it, but I think it was a bit obvious, which again I can't say is a bad thing, but I do like being surprised by something in a book, and that just wasn't the case here. And the other reason I think that I wouldn't like say it's my favourite book is just because it was just so hyped. I have a lot of friends who've recommended this to me, and I was just expecting something even more impressive, even though it was really impressive. So yeah, I definitely recommend reading it because I do think it's a really good read. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by all the noises outside. So yeah, that was the first one, The Safekeep. Another book that I've been reading for quite a while now, because I'm just reading it chapter by chapter, is Craftland by James Fox. This is a journey through Britain's lost arts and vanishing trades. I have been trying to read about a chapter every day. That's not true. Most days. I have fallen off that schedule for a bit, just because every chapter details a different craft, and I really do like it. I just want to be focused enough to really read everything, you know. With a non-fiction, I just feel like it sometimes asks a bit more focus than a fiction book. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's really inspiring me to just talk more about crafts, talk more about being creative, but also like write it down, keep notes on what I do. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the way it's written. I love the imagery as well. For instance, this is the chapter that I'm going to get started on now. It's just a gorgeous book. I'm thinking if it has a dust cover, I can't remember. I think it does, or at least a strip. But yeah, very much enjoying this. So I think I will be able to finish that. I'm halfway, so I will probably finish it in a week or so. Yeah. What else have I been consuming? Well, the next book that I'm gonna try and finish, and again I've been reading for quite a while, is this one. It's The Garden Against Time by Olivia Laing, I think it's pronounced. I have read her other book called To the River, and I absolutely loved that. And I got this one almost a year ago already when I was in Amsterdam. Yep, in the American Book Centre. And yeah, I have, again, loved reading it so far. I did lose my bookmark, which is a bit of an issue. But yeah, again, with the non-fiction bit, I haven't like read it in one go. So I might start from the beginning because it's been a few weeks since I've read in it. We'll see how much I remember. But yeah, I really wanted to read this by the time that I started planting my plants in the garden. I have a lot of like vegetable plants, so tomato plants, cucumber, pumpkins, some butternuts as well to put in the ground this weekend. And I just love reading this when it's so green outside and like the connection with the garden and everything. So yeah, this is also next, so Craftland and this one in combination. I do like reading multiple books at once. But what else have I been consuming? I'm seeing if I can find my phone. Something else that I have been absolutely loving, and I think I saw a recommendation on Instagram, is the Clotheshorse podcast with Amanda Lee. Let me have a look. Ugh, my Spotify app is not being functional. Okay, Clotheshorse with Amanda Lee McCarty. It's just a deep dive on everything fashion, and I absolutely love it. The first episode that I listened to was the one on mending. So that's episode 245. Oh no, that's not true. 244, Mending is a Radical Act, with Gina and Mary. And it's about a book, Stitch It, Don't Ditch It, Simple Hand Sewn Repairs to Help You Love Your Clothes for Longer. But it's just also in general about mending, which I really enjoyed. And then because I really like that, I was looking at what other episodes she has, and I got looped in. It's crazy how addictive these are. The episodes were called I'm With a Brand, and I think there are maybe 8 in total. I think the series is still going. I'm just having a look. Definitely 8. 9 even. Yeah, a bunch of episodes just about brands, marketing, imagery with brands and stuff, and how fashion works, and I absolutely love it. So it's called I'm With the Brand are the first episodes, I think, yeah. Unpacking how brands influence our brains. It's so incredibly interesting, and the way she tells it is really lovely. Like, it's really informative, but it's also just a good story in general. Like, you can have like really informative podcasts but that don't really keep your attention very well. Every time I put one on, I'm surprised that it's already finished, and these are like 2 hours long. So it's really impressive. I'm really enjoying it. I'm on the 5th one, or the 6th one now, which is about bots in the algorithm. But yeah, I'm definitely going to keep on listening to this podcast. I have been loving that. So yeah, other things that I want to do this weekend. I probably want to spin some more yarn, first carded, because I haven't done that yet. I do want to do some work in the garden, which I do count as creative as well. but mostly because I am building an arbor to go in between two of our plant beds, and I have already cut all of the wood. I have all the measurements ready. All I have to do is assemble it and then stain it with like a proper treatment for outside, and then I can install it. And I have had this plan, I think, since the winter, or maybe even before. So I'm hoping to get that done. Not done, but set up. And then yeah, plant out some plants. We do have a heat wave going on here. On the one hand, I think it's good for the plants to have this much sun and warmth. On the other hand, I will have to water them a ton to make sure that they don't dehydrate as soon as I put them in the ground. So yeah, I'll have to see to that. So that's one thing. I probably will do that on, well, tomorrow on Saturday. Another thing that I really wanted to do, and I was inspired to do this week, was actually to draw out a plan to build a new bed, which I know sounds really crazy, but we have had the same IKEA bed for ages, and in general it definitely isn't the best bed, but it's a really easy, simple design, and it's been fine. So even when we've moved rooms or, well, bought the house and then renovated everything, it's actually been fine with that style. But recently, I think just from taking it apart and putting it back together, it's just really wobbly, and my husband did like tighten everything up again, and it's a bit better now again, but we just realized we really do need to get a new bed. It's probably like 12 years old now. We also need to get a new mattress. But yeah, I keep on looking around to see if I can find something I actually like, and I can't. And that led to me thinking, how difficult is it to build a bed? Because technically, I wouldn't like need to do that much if I just copy the exact structure of this bed that we have, and then just think up something nice of the headboard. And if I do it with good materials and I reuse like all the metal in between pieces that we have for this bed, I won't even have to buy that much other things except for the wood to build the bed, and then an oil or a stain depending on what I choose. And in the past it sounded like such a big project, but now that I'm thinking of it and I was planning it out, I was googling like where I could get the wood, and honestly it sounds very doable if I just really stick to the plan of the bed that we have now. It'll just be made out of better quality materials. I will have used better joinery, and we can reuse bits of the bed that we have. I would also reuse the underbed drawers that we have. I would just pop a new front on them. So yeah, I'm thinking I want to draw out how I want the headboard to look. But again, it's not super urgent now that we have fixed the bed. So I'm going to draw out a design. I'm going to take all of the measurements, and then I'm going to see one, how expensive all the wood would be, and what joinery techniques I want to use, and yeah, how it would all fit together, and then decide if I want to do it or if we're going to still just buy a bed somewhere. So yeah, but I'll get back to you on that. I do want to draw out possible headboards and calculate how much wood I would need. So that's another thing. And then other than that, as creative projects go, I think I just want to make some more progress on my Winnie sweater. Ooh, I do also need to block a finished knit. I finished a Camisole number 9. I had already knit that a few years ago, but I actually accidentally shrunk it in the wash, so I knit a new one. And honestly, I think I started it in January or February, and I got so tired of it. I was just knitting on it every few weeks. That in the beginning of May, I just decided I have to just suck it up, get it finished so I can actually wear it, and I did finish it. So now I have to block it so I can actually wear it. And I hope this is a better fit, because I made the L last time and now I made the M, but it's always just a bit, yeah, nerve-wracking to see after if it's blocked, if it's still gonna fit properly, but I hope so. So yeah, those are the last creative projects. I am hoping to also just get outside and go for a walk, because the weather is going to be great, so I want to enjoy that. And yeah, on that note, if I'm thinking about my 4Cs, the last one I should mention is that I've had a few lovely lunches with a friend who's visiting her family, and yeah, she's just in the country for a few weeks. So it's been so cozy just catching up and having coffees and having lunch together. Just a bit like old times, because I work in the city where we studied, and walking around there is just very nostalgic in a way, even though it is just our lives now. So yeah, it's just so much fun to like reflect on how far we've come the past 10 years since we got to know each other, and it's just one of the best friendships that I've had for such a long time. So it's really lovely every time that she's here to hang out together and just chat. That's the thing, she really always inspires me to read more, because we just talk so well about books that I always get inspired to read more and just to, yeah, broaden my mind in a way. But yeah, I am going to enjoy the evening in the sun, and I'll film a bit later probably. I did manage to get some good drawing in to figure out a design for the headboard, but I didn't end up deciding yet what I want to do, just because I have a lot of options that I like, and I think it'll just really depend on how much wood I can find, what the width of the panels will be, and yeah, I just have to do a bit more research before I can actually decide on exactly what I want. I did find a ton of examples and a ton of DIY solutions as well for headboards and just beds in general on Pinterest. So yeah, I'm just going to think on it a bit more and then probably share it in a video what I end up deciding to do. It's funny looking back on this video that you can really see the progress of the weather. It started as such a cold week where I was just sitting cozily in nice thick sweaters, and by the weekend you can see I'm only wearing dresses and thinner tops because it got so warm, and it hasn't stopped being warm. It's been crazy here. On Sunday, I woke up incredibly early because I just couldn't sleep anymore from the heat, and I decided to bake something. I started making waffles for our breakfast, and then I still made a lemon cake, a recipe I use a ton, but I did try out a new frosting for it and it turned out really well. So that was a really nice start to our day right before we started working in the garden, and I ended up being able to put the arbor in place in the garden, stain the whole thing, and then turning it around and putting it in the garden beds while my husband was actually installing the supports for the arbor to make sure it's all sturdy and it won't fall down in a storm, or if even someone walks into it or something. And it's definitely sturdy enough to have plants growing onto it. I did really have to convince myself to actually still block the top that Sunday, just because I was a bit tired and I didn't really feel like doing it. I don't really enjoy blocking pieces, but I'm actually really happy I did so because I've already worn it this week and it fits exactly how I wanted it to. So that was really a big success. and that was everything that I did this week, trying to be creative with a full-time job. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon in another one. I have quite a few videos now on my channel all about being creative, knitting, sewing, drawing, so I hope you find something that you like, and I'll see you soon.